everybody. Welcome to This and That with Maggie and Ryan. We're your hosts. I'm Ryan.
I'm Maggie. How you guys doing?
Hopefully well, considering everything. I mean, we really got some good news today, though, right,
We
Maggie?
do have good news, and I think we could all use some good news right now in our
I
lives,
know I could. I
right?
know I sure as hell can.
Hell yeah. I mean, I feel like it's been one bad thing after another, but um, the silver lining is that we are going to get into it. Joe Biden signed an
Yes.
executive order today,
Yes.
protecting women's rights.
And I think, I kind of let's talk about it for a second, give a few more people a minute to get in here before we
Yes.
show the video, because we actually have an end clip and then him signing it, which I think is awesome. Um, so, Maggie, if you don't mind, I'm just going to say what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I will say that it was a little disheartening to see some folks on our side, the left, trying to say that it wasn't enough. Look, guys, this is a win, and we need to celebrate this win. Joe Biden and everybody else involved realizes that it's not enough, but it's a
Yeah.
step in the right direction, and it's better than nothing. Everybody was up in arms saying, "Why isn't Joe Biden doing something?" Well, he did something today. So let's snap our fingers, clap our hands, do whatever, whistle, but let's give him his props for the day, and
Mhm.
move on to fight tomorrow. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Is of course it's not enough, but it was nice to see the president stand up and say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to do an executive order, do as much as I
Mhm.
can, give Congress some precedent to stand on, and really put the ball in their court. So, what about you?
Well,
What did you think?
well, I mean, I think it's a true testament about what executive power really is and what it really means.
Mm,
And also remembering that all of these, this his ability to do an executive order is only based on the fact that there are other laws in place that where all of this comes under guise. All of these things are protected under different umbrella laws, like your right to privacy, and is under HIPAA, right?
yep.
You have women's access to birth control covered under the Affordable Care Act. You have women's right to emergency health care during a miscarriage. That's the Emergency Medical and Treatment in Labor Act. And all these things have been put in place by Congress already, Democratic Congress that voted those things in. So this is the only reason why this executive order was able to go forward.
Yep.
And it's important to remember that. And because they all have to go within the guise of the law, except the Supreme Court, which is the law. And so we are up against a huge, huge battle with the Supreme Court and what they've been doing.
Mm,
And
that's a
I'm proud of
really
Joe Biden, taking a stand today and putting his thumb on and saying, no, 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 I can use the law too, bitch. That's what he said.
yeah,
And he did. And he
absolutely.
did.
Yep, and like you said, it's challenging the Supreme Court, and I think that's another thing people need to realize, that Biden and the Democrats knew, going into this, that by doing this executive order, of course it's going to get challenged.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point too. So, we just got to, like I said, we got to take the win. And with that said, now we got some people in here. If you haven't seen it, we're just going to play the very end of him signing it, which I think was nice to watch. Like I
Yeah.
said, man, it's just we keep hearing this thing like Biden doesn't do anything. He's not doing a good job. Bullshit. He's standing up, he's doing something, he's using executive orders the way that it should be used,
Yes.
and he's getting the ball moving. And that's what we need right now. We can't just shrug our shoulder and say, "Oh, women lost their rights. Oh well."
Absolutely. And lay
No.
down and just take it. No.
Yeah. So
And
here's the video. It's about a minute and 50 seconds.
Let me close with this. The court and its allies are committed to moving America backwards with fewer rights, less autonomy, and politicians invading their most personal decisions. Remember, the reason of the decision has an impact much beyond Roe and the right to privacy generally. Marriage equality, contraception, and so much more is at risk. This decision affects everyone, unrelated to choice, beyond choice. We cannot allow an out-of-control Supreme Court working in conjunction with extremist elements of the Republican Party to take away freedoms and our personal autonomy. The choice we face as a nation between the mainstream and the extreme, between moving forward and moving backwards. between allowing politicians to enter the most personal parts of our lives and protecting the right of privacy. Yes. Yes. Embedded in our Constitution. This is a choice. This is a moment. The moment to restore the rights that have been taken away from us, and the moment to protect our nation from the extremist agenda that is antithetical to everything we believe as Americans. Now I'm going to sign this executive order. Executive order is protecting access to reproductive health care services.
Mr. President.
Love it. So
I wonder what Republicans are going to be mad about next. Probably that Kamala Harris had a tan suit on. You know.
the funny thing, I didn't even notice the tan suit because somebody on Twitter pointed out they're like, look at Kamala's face. She looks like somebody owes her money. She had that serious like, yeah, no, don't mess with us today.
You know, it was a true testament about what the Democratic Party stands for today, and we're working for the people. And unfortunately, we've been let down a little bit by what has been promised by Joe Biden and his office. But today was a win.
Yeah.
I know people are like, when are you going to cancel student debt next? But
but that and I hate to say it, but I think that's part of the problem with our side is that I saw that a lot today. It was like, oh well, what when are you going to do this? It's like, guys, are you freaking serious? Like this is the fight. This is the fight right now. So let's stay focused. Let's like I said, let's get behind the president right now because he's trying to do the right things, and stop playing this well what about game. Yeah. Clearly we all know that, like you just said, has he delivered on every freaking thing he said? Nope. Could he be doing better on some of the things? Could he have forgiven more student debt? Yep. But that's not where we're at. We're recovering from COVID. We got supply chain issues. We got inflation. We got high gas prices. We've got all these things going on. But yet it's like everybody, even on our side, wants to point at the one or two things that aren't addressed or aren't good enough. And it's killing us.
I agree. I think it's mainly because we had it so bad with Trump that people had this expectation that it was going to get exponentially better, like all at once. And let's be real. No matter what president comes out with what they say in their platform, a lot of it doesn't get done because of, partisan issues, bipartisan issues. A lot of things just don't get done in any office, even with the things that they, said that they were going to do in their platform. But, this was a huge step for Democrats today, showing their power and him standing up and being the president that we want him to be. And that is taking the bull by the horns and, saying that this is not okay.
And I want to say one more thing. I think it's worth pointing out that the president I believe he's Catholic. I think he's Catholic.
He is Catholic, yeah.
I'm a Catholic as well. And I know
I was raised Catholic.
Yeah, and I know him personally. He struggles with this personally. So it was nice to see him set aside his personal religious beliefs and do what was right for all women today. Yeah. And I just, that wasn't lost on me because I do know that his personal religion is important to him. And therefore I know that, it might not have necessarily been an easy call for him personally, but to be able to set that aside, set your personal religious and whatever beliefs aside and be like, this is what's right for the country. That was nice. That was good.
I'm here for it. And I'm proud of it finally having some kind of positivity when it comes to this right now, because it's been so negative in our country, especially, from the leak we had like a month to like prep, right? To like get our feelings
Imagine
in order.
if we didn't have that prep.
Oh my God, that's the thing. That is, in my heart of hearts, that's my true feeling why that was leaked in the first place. So everyone could get it out of their system, and they could really just, instead of just ripping off a Band-Aid, it was a little easing in for us. And we haven't been standing by it since the day we found out about it, even till now. I mean, the fight is far from over, but at least this is a step in the right direction.
Biden gave us a club today, though.
Yes,
and the fight's not over, but at least now we've got a weapon to use.
Well, I mean, and I think this week a lot of people were incredibly touched by the story of the 10-year-old girl from Ohio.
Oh,
sexual assault victim, needing aftercare. I mean, talk about the exact scenario that people fear, and it also sets up for this is exactly why abortion is necessary in so many ways. I mean, I believe that a woman's right to choose is any day of the week, but for people that might need a little extra, nudge in that direction, that story, I can't imagine anyone thinking that that's okay, for a 10-year-old child to have to bear a rapist child, that
the bad thing is that it doesn't make sense to us, and you and I look at each other and go, there's no way anybody thinks this is okay.
Oh, I do.
But the reality is that probably at least 30% of the country thinks that that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, it wouldn't be happening. If it was 90% of the country was like, no, then politicians wouldn't have a box to stand on.
You're so right.
But they do. So that means that there's a platform that they are appealing to. And that's the sickening part, is knowing that they know what they're doing. They know who they're appealing to, and they're damn good at it.
Oh yeah, your Marjorie Taylor Greenes, your Lauren Boeberts,
it's effective. It's effective. I mean,
they say what they want to say, even when it's just pure propaganda most of the time, because that's the platform that they're standing on. But they say exactly what they want to hear. You're so right.
Well, and
it's very disheartening,
and I think
that we're so divided on that realm where it's fundamental division. It's not like, I mean, these are polar opposite views.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an elitist comment, but the reality too is that for a lot of folks, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert make them feel smart. They're like, oh, this somebody thinks like I do. That must be right. It's the confirmation bias. It's the, you know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, is that the confirmation bias. That's Fox News. When they watch Fox News and they say something that they already think, it's like, oh, well, that's got to be true. Tucker Carlson said it, so it's got weed must make people freaking shoot, everybody in mass shootings. Weed, porn, and popcorn. I don't know.
Yep. Anything but the guns, Ryan.
Anything but the guns.
It's like they'll spout off anything. I did a TikTok where I was like, weed, anything but weed. And then I was like, you know what weed also caused you to do? Eat ice cream like Joe Biden. That is such a talking fucking point of Fox News. They love to blame everything on everything but the actual source of it, because that's their propaganda wheel and they've got to stick with it. And it's, but that's the thing. If we can continue to just amplify the real voices of this country, because the majority of people, I mean, that's the reality. The majority of people support Roe v. Wade. The majority of people want common law, like gun laws.
At least 65-70% of people support it.
So, I mean, we're talking everything that's being done to us right now is being done at the behest of the minority in this country, the religious right-wing minority in this country. And, we are just tumbling very fast towards a fascist theocracy, and it's frightening. If this is what they're able to do, I mean, I would personally, getting back to Joe Biden, but I would personally love for him, stack the damn courts now. Stack it.
Well, I don't even think we should call it stacking. I think we should simply call it
expanding
or even adjusting. And the reason I say adjusting is because there's precedent for there to be 13 justices on the court with the district now. So, it's one of those things where I think that us on the left, we may not be the best at messaging sometimes, because we, when you say stack the court, that's very, it's
triggering for
it's
people.
triggering.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's like
Yeah.
when you're trying to get people on board, though, you're not necessarily like there's a time to be triggering. Like there's
Yeah.
there's a time to throw the red meat, but
Yeah.
there's a time to use language that is a little bit more soft. And trying to get people on board to expand the court to what it should already be anyway,
Yeah.
it's gonna take some massaging.
But the thing is, I feel like we've entered this era where no matter kind of what rhetoric we do use, at the end of the day, they're going to have an opinion. They're going to be like, oh, well, he expand the court, put justices, to make it more representative of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you say that to people, nope, it's still stacking the court. It's still going to be this. They're going to still have those feelings because it's not going to be representing their interests. I truly just wish that we could drown those voices of those people that are out there spouting this stuff all the time. For me, it's because they are the religious minority in this country and they are running the show here. Yep. Their voices need to be lesser than the people that need to be heard more,
And I think to cap off Joe Biden again, I'm going to say, for a Democratic messaging talking point, you want something to take to the polls in November? Here it is that Joe Biden today stood up for women and he set aside his personal religious belief to do so. So Joe Biden will stand up for women and he understands the separation of church and state. And right now, when we're being taken over by Christian fascists, we need leaders who understand the difference and are able to leave it at the door. So you want good messaging for going into November? There you go.
Absolutely. And you know what? I was speaking of this, church and state. Now we've allowed, prayer to be brought back in school. The Supreme Court is allowing all these things to happen. But this is why I say the minority of only the religious, like evangelical kind of cult that's going on in America right now. They are running our show here, and it is batshit. It really is. And
well, you want to talk about Lauren Boebert? What did she say?
Well, Lauren Boebert, she said the churches should control the government, not the government control the church. I am tired of this separation of church and state junk that is not in our Constitution. Bitch, it's the First Amendment. It's in the First Amendment. Bitch, I mean, seriously though. I mean, it's in the First Amendment. I did a TikTok about it. I was like, do you know how to read? I came in as James Madison. I'm like, you're an idiot. Because at the end of the day, but these are the people that are spouting off this stuff. And they're like, people are like, yeah, it never said anything about church and state in the Constitution. Nope, no. It's the First Amendment. It literally, number one.
What is the exact wording of religious persecution? Is that what the wording is?
It's
protect from religious persecution or something like that.
Yes.
See, now I gotta go. I can't
Google
remember
it.
the wording.
I can't.
Yeah, I'll Google it. What? I'll Google.
I don't have the Constitution memorized, but I will make. Well, and guess what? I will make that a known fact.
But I have.
And that's okay. But as somebody like Lauren Boebert would love to come out and make you think that she is a avid scholar and devotee to the Constitution. I'm pretty sure it took her three times to pass her GED. So I'm very doubtful of her understanding of the Constitution at this point. And these are the people that are in office spouting off this nonsense. And there are people out there that are probably believing her, especially if you don't follow any kind of left-wing media or anything like that. There was probably no mention of her faux pas of her saying that, because you even mentioned she said it in a tweet too. So she doubled fucking down like Donald Trump does, right? Because Donald Trump he's the king of doubling down. He's always been the guy to be like, oh, I'm going to say this. Oh, it's wrong. Well, I'm going to say it again.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Always doubles down.
So, First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
That says a lot. That says a lot about what's going on right now.
Sure as hell does.
And they would love you to believe that it doesn't exist.
I'm gonna do a video about that after we're
You
done.
should,
I'm
you
gonna
should.
just read it.
You should. I mean, that speaks volumes. The First Amendment speaks volumes to all the shit that we're dealing with right now. Talk
Yep.
about grievances. Hello.
Well, I mean,
You got plenty.
and I'm going to bring this up just because, I think it's somewhat relevant. You're talking about grievances. One of the things I keep seeing is anybody that's trying to downplay January 6th, they're comparing it to the Black Lives Matter, protests and riots.
Oh yeah.
And why, I hope all of us can agree that any kind of rioting sucks, that it's against the law, shouldn't happen. I also argue that when you stop listening to the people, when you start literally taking their rights away, that you have to expect something to happen. You can't expect there to be a civil discourse when you've taken rights away from the people. The people are going to rise up and remind you that without us, there is no you.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And that's so to compare a literal coup, an attempted overthrow of our government, to people showing up because they're pissed off that people of color, particularly black folks, are getting shot in the street by cops. That is a very ignorant comment to make, and it really pisses me off.
It was just a normal tourist day for some people.
Yeah, a normal tourist day, but
where whenever I go on tourist trips, I always smear feces on the walls of places.
I always carve my flag into a nice point, just in case I have to, skewer somebody.
Or erect the gallows. I usually bring that stuff too.
The riot
shield? Just a normal tourist day.
Carrying the riot shield on the back, it's not as cumbersome as you'd think.
Well, you know what? Anytime I do a video about the insurrection and the January 6th hearings, there's always somebody be like, what a sham, what a scam of a thing that's going on.
It was the feds, it was a setup.
Honestly, I mean, we haven't actually done a show in a while because, we've been so busy with our lives and kids and America's crazy. But I mean, the January 6th hearings, what's going on right now? And like the latest bombshells with Cassidy Hutchinson. I mean, there is a lot to unpack with what's going on. And if people don't think that Donald Trump is guilty, they are living in a bubble. And they are living in a Fox bubble. Yep. And I'm so sad that there are people in this country that refuse to hear a bipartisan select committee that is doing the good work here.
Yep.
I mean, Liz Cheney.
Still a
Kinzinger.
She's still a Republican through and through. She's still, she'll still take women's rights away if she's got the chance.
Yes.
Liz Cheney is still Liz Cheney. However, just like I was talking about Biden, I think Maggie will agree. We have to applaud any Republican right now that's at least jumping into the middle of the aisle to say, yeah, we can agree, we can disagree on this, and this, but one thing we can't disagree on is an active coup, is overthrowing the government, an unpeaceful transfer of power. That's where the line needs to be very clearly drawn, and I think Mag is probably where you were getting going, but I think we need to applaud that specifically.
Oh, I agree.
I'm not going to sit here and lift Liz Cheney up and, and say, oh, she's so freaking great because, she still 2 weeks ago said, basically fuck all women, she'll take your rights away. So, but for some reason she seems to think that overthrowing the government, that's her tipping point. So I'll take it.
It is what it is with her. But you know what? It is, applaudable and commendable for that specific reason and that specific reason only. I mean, in the face of everything that we're dealing with SCOTUS, we've got a lot to worry about as far as these potential kind of coups and our democracy crumbling, right? I mean, there's a new bill coming out that the Supreme Court is going to see called Moore versus Harper. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about that?
A little bit. I haven't read anything on it.
Okay, so the idea is that it's going to make it so people in the states have complete jurisdiction over their voting, and if they don't like something, they can just throw it out. They can gerrymander as much as they want to. This is layman's terms. I don't have it in front of me, but the idea is that it is a very anti-democratic thing, and this bill in and of itself, or the what they're Moore versus Harper, the fact that the Supreme Court is even seeing it is actually kind of ridiculous because it's not something that the Supreme Court would normally see. But this is a perfect example about how the Republicans are doing everything to end democracy. Coups, voting, I mean, you name it, they are coming after it right now. And
I mean, I would honestly argue, Mags, that the coup is ongoing.
Oh,
You know, I honestly don't think it ever
Agreed.
really ended. And unfortunately, you know, you were talking about the hearings. I would probably argue that the fact that the hearings took so long, number one, even though they're doing a great job. I mean, I think the hearings, except for one day, that one day was kind of messed up, but every other day has been fucking phenomenal. But it took a while. And the accountability that we've seen thus far has not been well received. Not by me and not by most people I associate with. And
Yeah.
and on the other side, they think it's too harsh. They think that the January 6th Patriots are being treated unfairly. So, you know, those two things right there just tell you where we're at as a country. Like the coup is ongoing. If these people had a chance tomorrow, they would go in there, remove Biden, remove Kamala, install Trump, and press on if they had the
Oh,
opportunity.
absolutely. Well, you know, there are still people out there that believe that Biden is not even president. It's a guy in a mask. So these are the times, man.
Yeah, I mean, you
These are
know,
the times.
but you know, and I think that's probably what James here was trying to say. I think that you brought up a really good point, though. Why we're all focused on Roe v. Wade and all these things, they're really making it so easy for them to literally manipulate. I'm not going to say steal because I hate that, but they're making it so much easier for them to manipulate
Oh, yeah.
the elections. And
It's magic. Isn't that the sleight of hand? Right? Look over
you damn
here.
Skippy. Yep. And,
Take it
and
from
they're
the
doing
cookie
it-
jar.
And the timing. I mean, you know, like Max said, look at the timing. It's right before midterms, and they're trying to rush and give all this power to the states to be able to do what
Yep.
they want. And then by the time 2024 comes around, they'll be very good at it, and they'll be able to just, you, Democrat? Well, that can't be fucking right. And
Well,
they'll just
they'll be
overturn
able to, if Moore versus Harper passes, they'll literally be able to look at like, oh, here came a bunch of, you know, Democratic,
What's that, man?
you know, envelopes. Will be like, these are disqualified. Oh, that I didn't look right, or this, that, and the other.
Yep.
They'll be able to put whomever in to oversee voting,
Yep,
and
yep.
they will do whatever it takes to win. And this
Democrats
is
need to realize that this works both ways. That they need to start playing the game. I hate to say it.
they're not mean enough. They're not
Fuck
savvy
no. They
because we're also not stupid enough to fall for stupid shit.
well, you
Let's
know,
be real.
that's part of it. It's twofold, right? So you got a lot of people in the Democratic Party, especially leadership, who, you know, they want to play nice, and they think that the way that I do things. I'm just going to talk about myself. I'm not going to talk about anybody else, but I do know that there are other candidates that have had similar, if not the same, experience.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party doesn't understand social media. They don't understand the red meat. It's like they don't want to play the game. Like, you guys think that coming out here with all this policy bullshit and mumbo jumbo is going to win elections? It's not. It's what cost us the election in 2000 with Al Gore and Bush, because Al Gore was out there talking about climate change and issues and policy, and George Bush was out there talking to everybody, blue collar guy, just appealing to everybody's emotion, their personal stories, their life. And it was like, they didn't give a fuck if George Bush, what he said about policy, because they related to the guy. And it's what
What
loses
did he
us
say about
elections.
policy? God, George W. Bush.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not saying every damn idea he had was bad, but, you know,
No, I hear you, Ryan.
it's just, we need to get on the same field as they're on. It's like, if you're reading a book, we're not even in the same chapter.
Oh yeah, we're not even in the same book. We're in two different books.
I mean, I personally feel like that's a fair statement, but
Yeah.
you know, like Kyle said, we need to start. He says go for the jugular. I says we need to start punching people in the face. I say that all the time. I'm like, we need to start punching these people in the face because that's the only thing they understand. The minute you bow up on them and they realize, like, hey, guess what? Democrats have guns too, and guess what? We know how to use them. They go, oh.
Well, and the thing is, what would get their attention at this point? Obviously, maybe doing something very similar, parallel to them stripping away women's rights, or just doing what they should. I mean, let's actually make sure we have a separation of church and state. Come on, Joe Biden. Come on, Congress.
You want to know what?
Let's get these. I mean, that is one topic that really ticks me the fuck off. You see so many pastors, evangelical preachers out there, just spouting off, politics all the time. They're getting tax exemptions. I mean, go get them where it hurts. Let's start taxing these people. I mean, if they have such a hand in government, I'm tired of it. I feel like the Dems need to go after that faster than they can do anything. If you're influencing government,
you need to be putting money in the pot.
Absolutely.
Period.
And this is more than just influencing at this point. We are seeing a complete and utter reversal of, laws that were supposed to be the law of the land, protections against human rights. Yeah. I mean, and this is all because of religious beliefs. So, in my opinion, that's a huge thing that Democrats should be going after right now.
Well, and I like what you said is that we need to be doing something equally as I don't know, if that would equally piss them off. It's like, you want to take women's rights away, you want to take abortion rights away, then guess what? We are going to come for your guns, motherfuckers. Here we go. Let's play. And that's the kind of game that Democrats refuse to play.
Well, because they still have a hand in that piece of that money pie.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think they're just afraid to lose everybody, because it's like, you can't get Democrats like me. I really don't want to cough up my guns because all the threats I get. Like, I want to be able to protect my family, but I also don't need an AR-15 to do that. I've got hollow points. They work fine. I've got 3 clips for each one of my guns. They're loaded. It's like, I don't need a freaking AR-15. And if you can't watch some of these videos, matter of fact, that's a great freaking transition. If you can't watch some of these videos from July 4th, particularly the one in Illinois, and hear that gunfire, that's a semi-automatic weapon shooting .556 ammunition. I know that sound. And that's a sound that veterans have heard many times, and it's fucking terrifying. And the fact that civilians are having to hear that like a freaking war zone, kids in strollers, it's just, what was it, a 2-year-old? A 2-year-old?
Aiden. His name was Aiden. Yep. He was found under his father. His mother and father were brutally murdered. And it's just heartbreaking to think that somebody's going to a happy celebration, celebrating the country that's supposed to, be there for them. And we can't even get on the same path of these high-powered weapons having no place in civilians' hand. I'm sorry, they absolutely don't.
And the cops are fucking afraid of them. If the cops are afraid of those guns, then don't you think they should be off the streets?
Everything, absolutely. The whole thing is terrifying to me. We talked about this, Ryan. I think I literally saw your video on TikTok as I was going to a 4th of July celebration with my kids. Yeah, and I wasn't planning on, celebrating anything, but my little 4-year-old has never seen fireworks
kids
before.
Want to go to fireworks, yeah.
So, and they haven't been around, and my kids been.
They don't understand.
My baby's been a little pandemic baby. She literally was 1 when Corona started. Yeah. So, I was like, I'm going to take her. Yeah. And I get there, and the whole time I'm on edge because just to think that nowhere is safe now. Where's safe? Churches? Mm-mm. Grocery stores? Mm-mm. Schools? Mm-mm. Parades? Mm-mm. I don't know.
Parades celebrating the independence of this country while literally we lose all of our independence. You can't even go to a parade celebrating our independence. Women don't have rights over their own bodies. Like, what is there? Really, what was there to celebrate? There were 7 mass shootings, and that's mass shootings. That's not all gun violence over 4th of July. Yeah. Just on the 4th of July, 7 mass shootings. 7. And then there was another 2, like, after midnight. So technically it was 9. But w
where do we go from here? That's the thing. I mean, at this point, I told you I'm fearful for going places. I don't feel happy about being in public, thinking that I have
Put
to.
that up for you.
Oh, I know. I already put it up. I
Oh,
already
did
put
you?
it up.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad. I
that's why
wasn't paying
took.
attention. My fault.
No, that's why I took it down.
I was looking at the camera. My fault. My fault.
This is just scary times, and to think that I want to know your take on this. We know that the shooter from Illinois was a Trump supporter, right?
Now, yeah.
What is the purpose, especially with Trumpers being like America's great, the purpose of 4th of July for him is, I mean, it just seems like such a oxymoron, I guess. Like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Ironic is a better word. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Like,
What's the question?
why did he choose 4th of July? Why would a Trump supporter, who is somebody that is usually very America, go? I mean, I know that town, Highland Park, is primarily, Jewish, so this could have had anti-Semitism, wrapped around it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just doesn't.
I mean, the only thing that makes sense, the guy, he had like what, rap music or something on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I saw that.
He seems like somebody who was looking for attention, looking for a following. And the only thing that makes sense to me, even as a Trump supporter, is, as a Trump supporter, they're just stupid. So, I don't think there's any really rhyme or reason to some of the things they do. True. But in this instance, I think it was even more malicious and nefarious than that, which is knowing that he could get as many people as possible, that being on the 4th of July, that it was going to get a lot of attention and that it was going to get his name out there. And he was right, because even me, who I try very hard not to share the names or information or photos of mass shooters, I did share his, and people were telling me don't. And I said, look, guys, he hasn't been caught yet. Like, the only reason I'm sharing is because he hasn't been caught. Like, it's one thing if he's, he did the mass shooting, he killed himself or they got him. Okay, cool, it's done. They caught him. I don't need to share that information then at that point.
Word.
But when he's on the loose, that's a little different. Let's put his fucking face everywhere and make sure that we get this kid or whoever it is, this guy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I shared it. But I definitely do subscribe to the whole don't share the information. Don't, just say mass shooter, crazy person, whatever you want to say, but don't say their name. Don't give them that attention that they so desperately seek.
What a sickness, though, to think that to gain fame and notoriety, that the only thing you can do is to inflict such horror on people, to unalive mothers and fathers. Nice. I mean, I saw a video of this one girl who's 22 years old, and she lost her mother. And she was running alongside her mother. Her mom went down, and she stopped and said, "I'm sorry, Mom, I have to keep going. He's still shooting." And she's like, in that moment, she said, "I knew she was gone, and she had to just keep running." I mean, this is America here. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no matter where you go, there is like a part of us that is just, I'm scared. I'm always looking over my shoulder, and we shouldn't have to live in fear in this country. We are living in fear.
That's, and I mean, not to always bring it up, but my wife and I being veterans, that's one of the things that upsets us is, we went, when you sign up to go in the military, you signed up to go to those situations. Mm-hmm. and you did so because, you're, at least most of us, I did, you're protecting the rights of everybody. You're protecting our country. That's the thing. And to see people, civilians, living in a war zone, and like you just said, you are explaining the way that people who come back from battle used to feel. Be like, I'm always looking over my shoulder when I go into a stadium. I'm looking for snipers. When I go into a bar, I start sweating because it's too crowded. Like, that's what's starting to happen to everyday people, and that's
You
PTSD.
nailed it, Ryan. You nailed it, Ryan. Nailed it.
And as a veteran, we went and did this shit so that you guys wouldn't have to, so that you guys wouldn't experience the same thing that other countries are. And here we are. It's like I don't even know what to fucking say. I don't even know what to do.
I don't either at this point. I'm just so disappointed that we can't come to an agreement that there need to be red flag laws. I mean, this kid or the shooter, whatever.
Oh, there was
The
so
red
many
flags are
flags.
up
He was
our-
wrapped in them.
I mean, you couldn't have somebody more at. He was saying that he was going to do this, and he just manifested everything that he put out there in the universe, and yet nobody said anything.
Well, he said he was going to
but
kill his family. They had
and
to
it's-
remove knives from his house, and then his dad helped him after he threatened to kill his
Get
whole
his
family.
license.
His dad helped him get his license and get the gun.
Yeah.
And by the way, the dad said he doesn't regret it, so I think we need to
Hold him accountable.
That fucker needs to be in the cell next to his son.
He absolutely does. If he does, he said he didn't regret it.
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No.
Oh, fuck all the way off. That makes me
Right?
so angry. And he's like ran for mayor of his town or something, right? I mean, right?
Yeah.
And he was a Trump supporter. He was like, "Thank you, Trump," kind of guy.
Yeah. Thanks, Trump.
Wow. See, that really says a lot. And you know what? Those are the kind of things that we need to make laws on.
Ain't that
If
true?
you are somebody that's, helping somebody out and not locking up your equipment, helping somebody obtain a license that should obviously not have a gun, and you're
Yeah.
allowing them to go out and then they buy an AR-15.
Yeah. Yeah. You're liable.
Did his parents not know anything that person was up to? That's the thing that's really,
It's just
you didn't have any clue.
the loopholes need to be closed. And when we talk about gun control, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about taking all your guns. We're talking about high capacity magazines, semi-automatic rifles that shoot 5.56, what is it, 7.75 or whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's like
I don't know.
there's no need for that kind of ammunition to be on the street. And if you've seen what that ammo does, if you've seen what that kind of firepower does to a human body, you would understand that it shouldn't be on the street. And as much as I hate to say it, I think they should be releasing some of these fucking photos. I'm gonna tell you this right now: if I ever get shot in public, fucking drag my dead body up to the fucking Supreme Court stairs and leave it there to rot.
Dude, that's
until they do something.
Time for a will update. I mean, I think that is so on point.
I'm telling you,
I
if
do
I
it
get shot
too.
in public,
No, me too.
drag my ass, throw my body on the steps, let them stare at my dead body for the next couple weeks.
You know what? I concur. I do the same for me too, because maybe that's the only way. I mean, from what you've heard people talk about, and you've probably seen these things in real life and understand these things from your time as a veteran or before you were, serving. But I have never seen anything like that. And it would shock me probably to my core, just hearing people's descriptions of what happens to people. Evisceration.
The worst I've seen is a plane crash. I've only seen one bullet wound, and it wasn't from a 5.56. So it wasn't. I've never personally seen what 5.56 does. My wife has.
Yeah.
And just hearing those stories and seeing some photos and knowing my wife the way that I do, it's just, you hear those stories and it's just, you just know that you don't fucking need these weapons.
Absolutely.
I've been trained in them. When you shoot these fucking things, like, yeah, that's going to do some serious damage, like, and like I said, if you go watch these videos, and there are videos on my TikTok of it, go listen to the rapid fire of this guy, knowing the damage that he did. 31 people injured, 7 dead. Knowing that kind of mass death and listening to that gun, if you can't get behind some type of gun control, you're a fucking moron. Like,
And watching people flee with strollers.
Yeah, knocking strollers over.
I,
Trying
I
to
I
get
heard about
away.
I heard about someone that was wheeling their like old elder parent in a wheelchair, and then he toppled over in like all the. I mean, people were fleeing for their lives, and this at an American celebration
Yep.
of independence. I
Kyle
mean,
brought this up. That I
fuck,
think,
man.
and I'm going to say this: if you're not paying
Oh
attention
yeah,
to everything going on
the
in the country
Japanese
right
prime
now,
minister. Yeah,
like you're talking about, the war in Ukraine, Russia and Ukraine. Now there was a former prime minister of Japan who was running again, was assassinated yesterday.
yeah.
And he was shot by a man who had a homemade rifle because they actually have very strict gun laws there. And but the guy made a homemade rifle or whatever and shot him in the back. And stories came out that when they took him to the helicopter, he was pretty much already gone. So
Well, I mean, two things can exist at the same time, and I always love to remind
Absolutely.
people that you can have absolutely, yeah. There's gun laws that and many people aren't probably making their own guns at home, and maybe there are, but
3D
we have.
printers.
But yeah, we have access to guns here. So when you have, yes, you can have people that are, unstable and should not have access to weapons,
Yeah.
but they still do. So we don't have anything going on. It's the people and it's the guns, but it's the guns. It's the guns. The guns are there and people can just walk in and get them no matter who they are. You turn 18, you can walk into a store and get a gun. You can't buy alcohol, but you can go get an AR-15. You can barely get cigarettes, but you can get an AR-15. This is our world here.
Yep. And but it's one of the reasons that we fight. It's one of the reasons that we're out here doing what we do. It's just as disheartening as it is. It's why we have to get louder, and it's why I'm so insistent on the left and the Democrats, being more willing to get down in the dirt, and fight, because these people will kneecap you. They don't give a shit, So it's like if they're gonna get you down there anyway, hey, get down there and fight. We have to win these elections. Having, they keep saying, oh, well, you have control of Congress. It's 50-50 and we have the tiebreaker. But all it takes is one Democrat that doesn't give a shit, which we have several, and we don't have the majority. We don't actually have the majority. We need there to be such a majority that the Democratic president has power to actually do something.
Exactly. But this happens almost every single time the Democrats get into power. And then it becomes this time of stagnant where we can't get things done because the Republicans are never willing to play ball. They vote against everything that could help the American people.
Everything.
Really, truly everything that could help the American people.
Yep.
And then they go right afterwards and say, if only we could get this done.
If only.
Like, if only. And that's what kills me, I think, the most is when they show their hypocrisy, because they will completely vote against it and then come right out and try to take credit for wanting something and wanting something for you and, tricking their people into thinking that they're actually doing what's right,
Yeah.
But
well, with speaking of tricking people, let's end it. Let's end it on a somewhat fun note.
Musk?
Yeah. If you haven't heard, Elon Musk decided that he would not be purchasing Twitter now. Oh, I know. I'm really disappointed about that. I don't know.
And he might lose $1 billion in this deal now.
Yep. Because they're gonna hold his feet to the fire, and make him pay up the $1 billion, which that just makes me happy. Look, man,
it's a grain of sand for him. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
He'll probably fight it in court.
He'll just write it off as lost at the end of the year.
Yeah, true. But you know what? I think that's a win for freedom of speech in all realms.
It's a win for Twitter.
Yes. They can have their truth social.
Yeah, go over to Truth. Why the feds are investigating. Speaking of, forgot about that. Did you hear that that Donald Trump and Don Jr. bailed from the board of Trump Social like a week before the?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Who tipped him off? Who fucking tipped him off?
You know what? that man, they are out for themselves. They would do anything to just pass the buck to somebody else. They'll take any credit when credit is like, good, but when things are going bad, they are the first to jump off and pretend like it never fucking happened. God damn.
So what do you think the right response is going to be when the feds release the information that Trump was fleecing people for money through Truth Social? What do you think their response is going to be?
Unfortunately, I don't think that many people are going to believe it. We are still in this crazy conspiracy realm where these people don't believe. They don't believe the January 6th hearings. They don't believe what's going on here, Ryan. I mean, that's what I think scares me the most about this country is that there really is no talking to people that have a completely different reality than you do, than what we do. And that, like we said, two different books, baby. We're not even on the same page. We're on two different books because they're living in one reality. We're in another. They no matter what evidence is put out there. Oh yeah, it already came out that he took the $250 million for his election fraud scam and literally just used it for his own shit, paying off things. I mean, they don't care and they don't believe it because I did a TikTok on it, trust. It was one of my bigger ones lately. And they don't believe it. They're like, nope, it didn't happen. That's a lie. So unfortunately, I don't think they're going to care.
Yeah, like you said. Well,
we'll care because we'll know.
I always knew they weren't going to care. I think it's more like like you said, they're just going to, I think they're going to flip their lid. They're going to say it's all a fake. And,
of course.
And we're just attacking him. And yeah.
It's a witch hunt.
It's like, why the fuck do you think he left, you dumbasses? Because he's guilty.
It's a witch hunt, Ryan. It's the biggest witch hunt of all time.
Total witch hunt.
I love how he talks about witch hunts all the time. He's just fucking nuts, man.
It's like on repeat.
He only has a few lines that he can use. Total fraud.
Yeah.
Total
fake news. Total fraud.
And you know what?
I don't know her. I barely know her.
The thing is, the only reason why he's ever been this successful is because he is the ultimate con man. I mean, he gets in, but he gets out before, he slips in and slips out before it gets too heavy where he can't handle it. But he makes his money and he bails and he leaves everything in ruins for somebody else to clean up the mess. He has a history of literally ruining people's lives without caring. So this is just another part of it. But they'll never see him for being the grifter that he is. They still love to send him money, which... Yeah,
they're still sending him money. If you guys are out there, send me money. I mean, I've got a Cash App. You can donate to me, too.
I mean, do you remember...
I got to eat McDonald's, too. Jeez.
Do you remember when his fucking plane broke down? I remember us laughing about it. And he was literally grifting people because he needed a new plane. Yep. He was like... And I that's when I did my Melania Trump in the arms of the angels. I'm like... Please help us support the Trump family because we need a new plane. Please give us money because that's all he knows how to do. That's how he's made his money thus far. And he moves it from one thing to the other.
And the best thing I heard was they're like, and the funny thing is he's raising money for this new plane. It's not even going to be a new plane. It's going to be the same fucking plane with new engines and a new paint job. It's just going to be repaired.
The grift continues. Then he'll be like, we've got extra money from this plane. All right, McDonald's for everybody. No, he wouldn't do that. He'd say McDonald's for me and me only.
Oh, man. I can't wait till the day we can no longer talk about this man. But
I don't think that's coming anytime soon. However, I do want to talk about something that might be a little scary. What do you think about Ron DeSantis? Is he going to be the runner?
Yeah.
And do you think Joe Biden is going to keep his hat in the race? Can we hope for? Well, I've been reading lately. I'm from California, and people are really thinking that Newsom is coming out, and he's going to put his hat in the ring for this.
I mean, he's one of the only people that I really see being able to challenge. I unfortunately think the Democrats are going to do what they always do and play it safe, which is running the incumbent, which is Biden. And I think that it's probably going to cost us the election.
I think so, too.
So, yeah, I hope the Democrats aren't fucking stupid, but they usually don't go the way that I think we should, and so
I think there's a lot of talk within the Democratic Party right now that we need Joe Biden not to run for a second term.
well,
because
I wish the man would just fucking look at a camera and say, "Look, I ran to get the Democrats the White House. I succeeded. I'm gonna be 80 fucking 2 years old. I'm gonna go retire now in Delaware somewhere. Let's get the next Democrat up and spun up and ready for 2024."
Word.
If this man would do that, it would fucking fuel every progressive out there. They'd be like, "That's what the fuck I'm talking about."
Absolutely.
This isn't a dude that's holding on to power. This is a dude that wanted to get us power on his way out the fucking door. So let's not let him down, and let's
Yes.
do what we need to do. But
And there's a lot of chatter about who people would want to run, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know who you've heard, but I hear a lot
well,
of,
here's the thing: you can't say Stacey Abrams because we need her in Georgia to win the governorship.
Yeah.
So Stacey Abrams is out. Beto's out because we need him in Texas. Running for that governorship.
Newsom, baby.
Newsom.
Dude, he's done. Can I tell you what good he's done?
No, I mean, I'm not arguing the good he's done. I'm just saying, I think as a party we could lose Newsom and still keep California. And you know what I'm saying? Like I think
we would definitely keep California Democratic.
So
no,
it's
no
like
doubt about it.
If that's the case, then looking at a national strategic plan as a Democrat, Newsom makes the most sense because you don't lose a seat, on any state level.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the more viable candidates, even with any baggage that he does come with.
No worse than almost anybody else.
AOC, why she will be old enough in 2024. She should not run the first time out the gate. And just hear me out, because I personally think AOC is going to be around for a long time.
Me too.
And I think the longer that she puts in her dues, maybe moves up to the Senate, does a term in the Senate, kind of like the Obama, just get in the Senate, do a term, and then go ahead and run. I think if she does that, I think if she doesn't rush her ascension to the throne, so to speak, I think that she's the future of the party, among the future of the party. I think Stacey Abrams is another one that at some point I would love to be voting for president.
Yeah.
But just right now, strategically, we need her in Georgia. We need Beto where he is, but we can probably afford to cough up Newsom, and still be okay.
The articles that are out right now talk about him, this is his plan, because what he has been doing in California in the last 2 weeks, he's given California universal health care. He has pardoned a woman who, killed her rapist when she was in jail for a long, long time. He's setting a very good precedent on morals. And he's now on the forefront of California creating its own insulin and being independent, because now they don't have to be into price gouging. So he's really doing so many good things. Every day it just feels like something new that he's doing for this state. And
he's going to have the progressive
and his surplus. Sorry to cut you off. His surplus, because he had such a surplus of money from California. He was like, let's spend it, baby. California brings it in, and he's done a damn good job. So, he's got my vote. I don't want to lose him as governor, but I am incredibly proud of what he's done. And I see that he would make an amazing president. And I also would love, just like the dichotomy that he used to be with Kimberly Guilfoyle, and that whole thing with Don Jr. and them trying to come. I just think it'd be really good.
Such a weird jump.
It is. Such a weird jump.
I think the only thing I worry about with Newsom right now is, and it is what it is. Every candidate's going to have pushback, but him getting the insulin up and running, that's going to scare a lot of pharmaceutical companies. And so there's going to be a lot of lobbying against him simply because of that. But for me, where I'm, the progressives, the Bernie people, those folks should be fucking like seething at the teeth to support this guy.
There's
So
a
yeah.
lot of money in, to be truth, there's a lot of money in California. And I don't think he would have done something like this if he didn't have some really powerful people in his pocket.
Of course it
So,
is. You don't become governor of California. I mean, governor
absolutely.
of California is one step below running for president. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know,
I mean, let's just forget the pesky years when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in office.
but even then, he still turned the state around. They were in
It wasn't,
pretty, shit financial.
I know, but just have Arnold Schwarzenegger as your governor is just kind of, oh God.
Could
That's
have
the
been what's his name from Minnesota. No, I can't remember his name. Damn.
I'm also just tired of celebrities in general running after Donald Trump. I don't think we can handle anyone
The bad thing
else.
is, everybody, I think everybody's going to be a celebrity now from this point on. Everybody's going to be considered a celebrity because if you want to get into politics, you got to have a platform.
That's true.
And in today's society, doing what we're doing right here, this is how you build a platform. You and I have been doing it for a couple of years on TikTok,
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram. When you start getting tens of thousands of followers and you're building this platform, it's
Well, I'm talking about like the people that are already established, like the Matthew
I know, but-
McConaughey's, right? Remember
Oh,
when he
yeah.
came, which I loved him when he did his speech at the White House for Uvalde. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like there is, it's. I feel like it makes it that much more of a theatrics when it's just because of who they are, truly.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, that politics has always been theatrics. It's always been about, who can you get to show up for you? How many celebrities can you get to do something for? It's just
I hear what you're saying.
Politics is so much of what it's not supposed to be.
Of course.
It's supposed to be about the people. It's supposed to be about, passing good legislation. It's supposed to be about keeping our country, in the leading edge of society, in the worldwide economy, in all of it. And we're failing. We're failing desperately. And it's because of everything you just said, the theatrics, the bullshit, we've got more celebrities than we actually have
Money.
legislators and public servants in office.
Yeah.
And we need to get to the point where we have less politicians and more public servants that actually want to work for the people. And we have some. Like, there are definitely public servants in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, it's just maybe 1 out of every 10.
Yeah.
And that's that's
Well,
the
and
shit.
those are the people that, we've talked about, spending more time on positive people, right?
Mhm.
And, the people that are really out there making a difference and that are actually working for the people, because not everybody is, beholden to the lobbyists and pieces of crap. There are people out there that are actually doing the work.
Mhm.
And, they deserve to be, raised up and supported. Absolutely. But what a
Absolutely.
game we are in. What a game.
It is. It's a very weird time, and all we can do is keep doing our shows and our videos and bringing awareness. But with that, I think that's a good place for us to stop. So,
I think so too.
Do you have anything before I shut it down?
No, I just want to say follow me on all platforms, and you guys just keep swimming. And I'm Mermaid Mama Maggie. Take care. I said it
All right,
after
guys.
Ryan.
And as always, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting us on all our platforms. And engaging with us in the comments. You guys are awesome. So thank you for that. But yeah, definitely tune in. I know the January 6th hearings are going to be kicking off again next week. So let's stay focused. Oh, and I got my ballot. I got my ballot in the mail. So
Woo-hoo!
if you're doing your voting, if it's primary time for you, please get your early ballots in. Please, please, please. All the crap we just talked about, voting is one of the biggest ways we fix it. So please, please vote. And with that, I will leave you with much love. Keep fighting, and we'll see you later.